LSU went to Fayetteville, kind of handed it to Arkansas. Kind of handed it to them. Garrett Nussmeier looked good. They were efficient 8 of 15 on third down. Once again, not giving up a sack. They still have not given up a sack on Garrett Nussmeier since the South Carolina football game. Caden Durham, you talked about it. You're like, hey, what is LSU going to need to do to win this game on the road? They're going to have to run the football. Caden Durham was certainly that jolt of energy that they needed. The true freshman running back, a little bit smaller, just so fast, though, so explosive. He was over 100 yards and a touchdown. He was good. LSU was good, man. And this is the right time because you got to go next week to Kyle Field against another team that's undefeated in the SEC. The only two undefeated teams in the SEC are LSU and Texas A&M. You're going to need to win that game if you want a chance at the playoffs, you want a chance at the SEC championship, and to be playing good football like this right now. And, honestly, I've been saying I've been underwhelmed with LSU's defense. I was very impressed with them this week. And I know I've said some negative things, maybe not negative things about Blake Baker, just maybe,
more cautious.
I'm just cautiously optimistic, right, about everything going on there. So I guess I'll say that this defense is mightily improved from last year, and it looked really good on the road too against a couple dynamic athletes.
Yeah, and for Arkansas, man, you just missed opportunities in that first half, especially led to kind of the domino and the kind of pummeling that happened in that second half. You talked about missed field goal, you had the fumble, and then once you start pressing in that second half, right, the interception, the fumble, things kind of got out of hand there. And obviously, you're not going to keep down that offense and Nussmeier, and especially if they're running the ball well, down that long. For too long, right? I thought Andrew Armstrong made some nice plays early on. He's a really good football player, but you couldn't get Jackson or Dominion going, and you couldn't get Taylon Green going on the ground. Too much was relied upon him through the air, and credit LSU's defense and that game plan and the players that they had making plays to be able to force that issue, and it really was an issue for Arkansas. Now, LSU, we talked about them earlier in this episode where, there they are, 3-0 in conference. It's them and A&M right now who are on a collision course, I think, next week, right, in College Station, which will be an awesome football game. Two teams that are atop the SEC, but no one really believes they are the two best teams. I think this is a great opportunity for them to prove that and potentially get a signature win on their schedule. It was awesome. For Arkansas, obviously, this would have been another massive win for Sam Pittman. Obviously, home football game in Fayetteville there, start to build some momentum, continue that momentum after the Tennessee game. But you look at that back half of the schedule, I mean, a bowl game is certainly in play, but there's still some tough teams on that schedule, some fighting, frisky teams in the Bulldogs starting next week with Mississippi State on the road there. So we'll see what happens there the rest of the way for Arkansas, but I hope Jaquindon Jackson's healthy. I think he kind of got banged up. I couldn't quite tell if he came back in and whatnot, but obviously with those two guys, with Green and Jackson, if they're playing good, they're playing healthy, this is a much different football team, especially offensively. That needs to change, I think, in this week and starting next week with Starkville, or in Starkville.
Another thing too, like being able to run the ball allows you to just control the game. If you look at their time of possession, LSU had the ball for 38 minutes, right? And the reason that they were able to do that is first downs. Just getting first downs, creating short chains, right? We talked about 8 of 15 on third down, but they also converted a third down on every single possession that they were in, that they, except of course the one where they got the ball on like the 2-yard line to punch it in. And the other time when they just ran the clock out to halftime. I don't know. Actually, they might have even gotten a first down in that possession. They did. They got a first down in every single possession. Except I guess their last possession was the only one where they didn't. That was with 1:30 left to go in the game. So just controlling the game. You only gave Arkansas 10 possessions, and they only scored 10 points with it. So you're going to win football games when you're able to run the ball, convert on third down. And also just make sure that your defense, which, again, talked about being a little bit impressed with Blake Baker and their performance this week, but it is the weak point of this football team. keep your offense on the field. Keep your defense off the field. It's that simple. If your offense is better than your defense, keep it simple, stupid, and dominate the football games. Run the ball and convert on third down. You're gonna win a lot of football games doing that, and you need to do that against Texas A&M because Texas A&M wants to control the football game. They want to run the football, and they're gonna be at home. So, second straight road game for LSU. It'll be another test. If they win that game against Texas A&M, I'm gonna be looking at LSU and be like, all right, okay. Garrett Nussmeier plays at a high enough level, they could win the SEC. So
he's going to play himself into a lot of money, not only with NIL, potentially Heisman, conversation, right? I don't think it's an actual. I don't know if he'll actually win it, but that, and then also the NFL draft too, with his arm talent and the games that they have coming down the stretch, right? You mentioned A&M, Alabama, dare I say Vanderbilt, and potentially right whatever postseason that they have with the SEC championship game potentially, and then also potential playoffs and other things that are going. A lot of big football games for Nussmeier.